right now, there is a voice in your head deciding whether to keep watching this video or scroll away. And there's probably another voice judging what I just said, right? Most people live their entire lives being controlled by these voices in their head without even realizing they have a choice to live a better and more happy life. Today in this video we are talking about why so many people, including myself, sometimes end up in a rabbit hole of negative thoughts and how you can easily change this for the better. But let me tell you a little story of how I got to do this important realization, because it's Friday night around 5 years ago and I'm sitting in a restaurant with my girlfriend and I can feel the tension from the week still sitting heavy in my shoulders. The pressure I was putting on myself and a constant pressure to perform, and my girlfriend is sitting across of me, but I'm barely present at that moment. My mind is racing with tomorrow's tasks, thinking about what I didn't finish today, right? And then she looks at me and says something, and I can barely even remember what she said. And I suddenly feel the irritation rising in my chest. My jaw tightens, and the alcohol makes everything feel more intense and more personal. And before I know it, I can hear myself saying stupid things I don't even mean, words that cut deeper than I had intended. When I look at her, she looks hurt, and it's obvious that she didn't like what I just said. And still there's this voice in my head saying, "Yeah, you are right, man. She doesn't understand the pressure you are under. She should support you more." And then the next morning I'm lying in my bed. I wake up with that familiar knot in my stomach, not from the hangover, but from the shame from what I've said the night before. Lying there in my bed, hearing her moving things around in the kitchen, I keep replaying the night before because I know I totally crossed the line and I've hurt her. And that's when it hit me. This wasn't about the alcohol. This was about the voices in my head that pushed me down a rabbit hole that I had no idea they were even there. And that's when I realized something. What if I don't listen to the wrong voices in my head? And maybe you can relate. You are having thoughts in your mind triggering your old behavior and especially the things you are not proud of, right? But do you know what the core problem is? When you are not aware of these thoughts, they can easily decide to take you down the rabbit hole for hours and sometimes even days without you even realizing it. You are saying things you didn't really mean that way, or did things you are not proud of, right? But here's the thing. When you start paying attention to that voice in your head, you will discover you actually can control it. You can choose whether you are going down the rabbit hole or not. It's a choice. And that's the moment when I totally stopped drinking. Because alcohol didn't help me make better choices. My ego comes up faster. I'm faster irritated. And I got so much more angry than if I don't drink. So I decided to take control of my own life and stop making excuses and play the victim mentality. When you master your thoughts, when you master your awareness, here's what changes in your life. I have seen that it will waste dramatically less time keeping you stuck in a mental loop. You will start making better choices, making better relationships, and have fewer regrets. Because awareness is a system. You just have to train your mind like you train a dog and you learn him how to sit. So, how does this work? Thoughts are just like Netflix that keeps you hooked to watch all 15 seasons. Your mind keeps throwing more and more thought loops at you. And before you know it, you will spend hours, days, or even months living in this mental series that started with one single small thought. You know, the voices we hear are different parts of us, wanting different things. Some lead us to self-destructive behavior, for example. Others attempt to lead us to health and happiness. For example, my overachieving side wants me to get more videos done every day. And my fun-loving part wants me to relax and enjoy even more. And my responsible self wants me to grow. So the question is, which voice gets to decide my actions? Here's how it works, and it looks like a diagram. So you look at layer 1. It starts with one simple thought. For example, I'm not good enough. And when you pay attention to this thought, you will come into layer 2. If you are not aware this is only a thought, it triggers more voices. You have the taskmaster, endless list of things you need to get done. Or the critic, the inner critic, constantly critiques everything you do. Or you have the controller voice that wants to do the things your way and it will manipulate everything. And then you have layer 3, when you have totally fallen down to the rabbit hole. You have the victim mentality. I will never succeed at anything. Or maybe I should just give up. It's not your fault. And this can spiral for hours, for days, even weeks, all from one initial thought. But here's what changes everything. When you become aware and choose not to listen to the negative voice, guess what happens? Voice number 2 shows up, the creative mind. Suddenly you are getting brilliant ideas, solutions, inspiration. But if you stay aware and let that voice drift by too, here comes the other voice, voice number 3, the to-do list mind. Don't forget this, remember that. And if you are still staying strong, the mentoring mind appears, giving you excellent advice about how to handle all these voices. And if you are watching this video, you can see I just lost my awareness during my explanation because I thought it was such a great example for my channel. See how these voices work? And yes, they got me hooked as well into creating content about not getting hooked. And that's awareness in action. And this is exactly what was happening to me during those Friday night dinners. The stress from work would trigger my inner critic, which would expand into layers of self-doubt and frustration. And then alcohol would amplify whichever voice was the loudest, and that was usually my ego. And then I lost myself in anger and frustrated thoughts. And the drinking was just the symptom. The real issue was that I had no awareness of these mental patterns running in my life. So here's my question for you. What kind of voices do you have? And how deep do your rabbit holes go? So do you see how important this is? Because if you can stay aware of those voices, you don't have to act on them. And when you become aware, you have a simple choice, which voice you want to listen to. So here's a powerful exercise that changed everything for me. Start becoming aware of your voices. And every time a different voice comes up, your inner critic, your creative mind, your to-do list mind, simply label it as a thought or a voice and then return to awareness. Look at yourself from a distance, like you are observing your third person. Every time you catch yourself going into the thoughts, remind yourself thought and go back to nothing. Go back to the awareness. And when your mind is chattering a lot, when you have had a lot of distractions during the day, you will notice it's harder to maintain awareness, to catch your thoughts. That's when I use my 4-4-8 breathing technique to calm my nervous system and reset my awareness. So try this, starting today, just 2 minutes, twice a day for the next week. And notice the difference it makes in your mental clarity and your emotional control. And remember, awareness is a choice. And when you know it's a choice, you can choose which voice deserves your attention and which ones you let drift by like clouds in the sky. So whether it's in a bar on Friday night or scrolling through your phone or sitting in a stressful meeting, the power is always in your hands to step back, observe and choose your response. And as Neville Goddard once said, the moment you become aware of your thoughts, you become the master of your destiny. Your awareness is your superpower. Use it wisely. Okay guys, take care, love you all and see you in the next video.